Assalamu alaikum, girl bosses. This one has been a long time coming. This is the new Tactosa track, The Bleeding Machine, featuring Zach Vargas of Elysia. Now, if you don't know who Elysia is, it's okay, I didn't either. Until Tactosa's manager, Brad, he hooked me up. He recommended their song Incinerate to me. I checked it out. They're not on streaming services, but they are. You can find their songs on YouTube and the like. And, they're sick. They're sick. See, I wasn't around. Well, I was around for the MySpace era. I wasn't conscious yet. I wasn't conscious. I was like 7 for the MySpace era. So, I missed out on a lot of that stuff. So hearing that, I was like, whoa, they're built different. So if you haven't heard Elysia, strongly recommend you check him out. You learn something new every day. But yeah, this is The Bleeding Machine. I'm not really sure what a bleeding machine is, but it's probably worse than the coming machine. So I say we get into it. Before we do, we'd really appreciate if you like this video, subscribe to the channel. It's free, helps a ton, helps you find new music. Got links to my social media as well as my music project, Sunscourge, down in the description down below. So without further ado, let's do it. Yeah, many of you have been asking me to check out Tactosa for a while, so the time is now. Ooh. Kickball snare. I didn't know bands were still doing the MySpace era sound. It's pretty crazy. Psychoframe did it recently. Did loving the slam vocals. Ooh. They got the old Suicide Silence and old Chelsea Grin vibe. Is this gonna be the Zach jump scare? I don't know what he really sounds like. I only listen to one song, so I'm not too familiar with his voice. But he sounds different than the other guy. Cooked! Also groovy. Really liking the pacing of this part. Shit. Did not say tongue. No way. Not a chance. Where are they going now? Okay, they're wrapping it up. I was like, that was like the perfect point to end the song. So I was like, oh, what's next? They just ended it like a few seconds later. But yeah, that that does sound like the old school deathcore vibe. And I think because of the MySpace era and MySpace vanishing, going up in flames, I think a lot of like bands from that time are kind of lost to the ages in a sense, given that everyone's listening to music on streaming platforms. That's like the dominant site where music's hosted. So you can find relics on YouTube, but you really have to search for them. And they don't have the same presence as like Spotify. Spotify will recommend you just like some bands that you wouldn't find otherwise. YouTube, it's a toss up. So it's kind of sad that the MySpace era, like so many bands, it feels like we're lost. I feel like only a few really made it through to today, which is something really interesting to think about. Sort of how music sort of perseveres. What is the legacy of music? What is the lifespan of a song, really? It kind of depends on popularity, but then there's also the chance of what platform you're hosting your music on, especially given like there's no way Spotify lasts forever, right? There's going to be an eventual end to Spotify, then something new comes, or something other than Apple Music. I can't really see any form of media that would ever be permanent other than like physical media. And even then, I mean, we used to have the VHS. Before the VHS, I wasn't born yet, so I don't really know what people did. Cable, something like that. VHS. We have DVD now, and even now the DVD, it's obsolete. Now it's streaming services. It's funny to think of. But yeah, it's really cool to hear that old school deathcore sound, kind of with like modern production. They leveled up from like the 2008 DIY home studio production to like your pretty standard like slam production. That's how I felt here, but it was clean. It was some pretty clean stuff while still staying pretty true to that sound. But yeah, it's interesting. I feel like the only old school sounding deathcore bands, the only old school sounding modern deathcore bands that I know, it would be Tactosa and Psychoframe. I'm curious because this sound is pretty much gone from modern deathcore. Modern deathcore is so far removed. I mean, there's the old school deathcore bands who kind of kept the sound that they built to the modern era, but even then they sound completely different than they did like 13 to 15 years ago. So it's something to like really think of, like how much of that old school sound really persists in deathcore? Because to me, my honest thoughts, it sounds like none of it. It sounds like completely different genres to me. It's like, what, you got breakdowns, and that's kind of it. In a way, the old riffs, not just for old school deathcore, but I've been hearing like some old school like metalcore tracks, and those are good. And I'm a metalcore hater. Modern metalcore, it doesn't sound anything like that. So I'm like, what happened? It really sounds like the genres like become like two separate things, just in the old school versions of the cores, and then the modern versions of the cores. It's like day and night. It's crazy. But curious what you guys thought of this one. I thought it's really cool, really sick to bring that old school sound back and innovate on it. Especially just like, because they're actually doing riffs. They're using more than 2 frets. I know that's a stereotype, but it's sick, and there's no like production to really carry through, which I'm a fan of at times, but it's impressive that they just convey so much with just like your bare bone instruments. No studio thingamajigs, thingamabobs, combobulate, discombobulate, doohickeys. Am I allowed to say that? That might be a slur. Yeah, bye.